Welcome everyone to another 9X tool demo. We're very excited about this one because it's actually a Back to the Future tool demo. Marie actually joined us, Piv was just discussing probably about a year ago. So we're very excited to see what's been going on at Tally. So Marie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great that you've decided to join us. Maybe you can get started before we get into the demo. Maybe just telling us a little bit about your and Tally's story, how it came about, and what you guys have been working on.
Yeah, of course. I'll just because I have some slides prepared here, so I'm just gonna dive right in. I brought something extra. I hope you don't mind. So I'll tell you a bit more about Tally. And then I'll share some use cases of how other companies use Tally, and then we can go over to a quick demo.
Amazing. The more the merrier.
All right. So this is us. This is me and Philip. We're the co-founders of Tally. Until actually last week, we were just a team of two. We just welcomed our first employee, who is actually from Germany. Richard, who will be helping us with customer support. But so yeah, we're a bootstrapped company, which means we're self-funded. We haven't raised any money, and we founded Tally around 2 years ago. Would be in the summer of 2020. And yeah, you might wonder why the hell did we decide to build another form builder, because it's quite a competitive space. And there's already a lot out there. The main reason was like a problem that we experienced ourselves. So Tally is not the first startup that we founded together. We had another one called Hotspot, but that's a long story, and I'm gonna spare you that one. It also failed quite fast. But anyway, we needed a form builder there, and also in our previous jobs, we had used Google Forms, but we didn't really like how Google Forms looked like. We've tried Typeform, but that was pretty expensive, especially if you're just starting out and if you're like a bootstrapped startup. So we thought, like, at the same time, we're also avid users of Notion, and we felt like there should be something in between where we can make a form builder that people would actually enjoy using, but that is also budget friendly, and that has a bit of a different interface. And that's how Tally was born. And you might know the tool, or you might not have used it yet, but that's why we're here today. This is how our form builder looks like. So it's a blank page. It will be a familiar interface for those who use Notion. So you can basically just start typing and use shortcuts to insert any block you like. It's very flexible. So we don't really force you in a certain format. You can just go ahead and start building from scratch. So that's how the form builder looks like. What makes us a bit different than competitors, or how did we manage to claim like a small piece of the market? We're largely free, so we offer unlimited forms and submissions for free, which means we don't have volume-based pricing. If you would use a Typeform, for example, you would, since recently, pay after you collect 10 responses. That's an experience that we didn't like. So we try to, turn that process upside down. So we don't have volume-based pricing. We just offer unlimited forms and responses for free, and also most of our features. And on top of that, we have like a Tally Pro package that is mostly aimed at businesses, where you can basically pay for an extra set of features. Then, yeah, it's quite simple. So you can literally create a form in seconds. You can also try it out without creating an account. And you can just hit / and start building. And yeah, as I said before, so we are an independent company, which means we can also make all the decisions in the best interest of our users. And we really focus on offering really fast customer support, putting our community first. We have a public roadmap. Everyone can upload features, and then we decide together what we're gonna build next. So that's Tally in a nutshell. We have around 60,000 users worldwide. I think last time when I visited, it was a lot smaller. I don't remember how many people it were then. But yeah, we grew quite fast this year. And we're also really proud to have some household names in our customer base. And yeah, that kind of brings me to the second part, made with Tally, where I'm just going to show you a couple of use cases of how those companies actually use Tally. And the first one, I guess, will not need an introduction here. The Notion team has been using Tally for a while. And one of the use cases for them is, so they use Tally to manage all the Notion certifications. So basically everyone can apply to become Notion certified. They have a whole range of programs, and managing those applications they do through Tally. I'm just going to show you how that looks like. So this is one of the forms that they use. As you can see, it looks a bit different than the form builder, but that's because you can completely customize your forms within Tally. That's something that was not possible yet, I think, 1 year ago in our first demos. That's something that has changed. One thing that they use is, for example, a custom subdomain, so you can host your forms on your own or connect your own subdomain to your Tally forms. They also use custom CSS or some of our design options to adjust the look and feel of the form. You can change basically anything with CSS. And then they also apply some conditional logic. So basically, based on the first question and the answer to that question, they will show you a different set of questions. So this is how it looks like. Sorry, I went a bit too fast here. So let's say we would choose, we would want to, apply for the Notion Essential badge. Then you will see a different set of questions than you would for the other certificates. So that's how their form looks like. It's pretty clean, as their own style is. But of course, it doesn't stop there. So we're only a small part of the workflow that they use. So they actually use our Notion integration. So we have a native integration with Notion that sends all your Tally form responses to a Notion database, and you can just map the Tally forms to your Notion properties. And every time someone submits the form, that response will be pushed automatically into your Notion database. So this is also what happens for the Notion team. Once a response arrives in their database, it basically gets segmented on the type of application. And that then again triggers a whole set of make scenarios and zaps, and those that involve apps like Gmail, Credly, Easy LMS to basically manage the full process of applications. I don't have the details of everything that happens there, but that's kind of how the workflow looks like from A to Z. So yeah, that was it for Notion. Another one is Media Monks. I don't know if you know the company. It's a quite big digital advertising company. They have around 6,000 employees worldwide. And they use Tally to streamline their resource management. So basically what they want is that the resource managers around the globe can very easily set up workflows without having to write code. And Tally is just one of the tools that they use to do that. So basically what happens is, if a sales team would sell a project, they would need resources to build that project for the client. They have like an internal Google site with links to different Tally forms. And then if you would choose one, you would basically go to this Tally form where you can request a team and request resources. Just an example of how the form looks like. It also contains quite some logic. So depending on the type of profile that you would select, Like, for example, here, if we would choose creative director, yeah, then you will get different set of questions depending on the profile that you need. Again, here, this is also just one part of their workflow. They use Monday to manage all these requests globally. And at the same time, there's also an email being sent from Tally, basically with a recap of the request to the person that has requested it and to the manager. And that looks like this. So this is our email builder that you can find in the settings. It works pretty similar to the form builder. You can basically also just type at, and then you can insert answers from your form. So it's quite easy to make it dynamic and update the content of the email depending on the recipient. So yeah, that's how the email and their workflow looks like. And then another company that you probably know, Make, formerly Integromat, and Zapier alternative. They might not like to hear that, but I'm not sure how else to describe them. They also use Tally quite a lot, and this is one of the use cases. So their customer support team actually sends a Tally form every time that they have talked to a customer and they have resolved a support ticket, to collect basically more feedback from their side. And this is how the flow kind of works. So every time a support ticket is resolved, this email will be sent to the Make user. And basically they want to know if that user was happy with their service. You'll see there's 5 buttons in there. And every button actually links to the same Tally form, but just contains different URL parameters. And those will, in the next step, make sure that the content of the form is adjusted based on the score that you have chosen. So, for example, if you're very happy and you said agree, then you will see a different copy in the form than if you would not be happy. And how does this work? Checking, yeah. So basically what you can do is you can just add multiple types of text in your form. You can then hide them. And here, what they did is they inserted a hidden field, and this is basically the piece that makes sure that the values in the URL are being read and taken into the Tally form. And then you can apply logic to that. So basically say when the URL parameter contains value A, then I want to show this text. If it contains something else, then I want to show another piece of text. So that's like a combination of hidden fields and conditional logic, and quite an easy way to pull data into the Tally form and then personalize it. Based on those URL parameters.
So I guess, Marie, so with this, you could almost also actually pass information about the user as well, right? If you have that, you have like a user ID and you want to know who's filling the form out without them having to fill in their email and things like that, that would be a common use case.
Yeah, definitely. That's a pretty common one. A user ID, but it can also be like first name, for example, if you don't want people to submit that another time, like any data that you already have. Or data that you want to pass and you don't necessarily want your response to see, that's also possible. Of course, it is always visible in the URL, but sometimes, the URL can be that long that people don't really pay attention. But that's quite easy way to just pass anything you'd like into the form.
Yeah, really cool. And we did have a question in the chat. It's more of a tongue-in-cheek one. I think they wanted to know whether the team from Notion liked the UI of Tally.
They do actually. We've I mean, they didn't mention anything specifically, but they discovered us quite early on, and they just said, you know, we really love the product and we'd like to use it, especially because it integrates well with Notion. So yeah, no further comments on that for now.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Good. Well, that takes us to the demo. I'm going to show you a demo that I've done before. So it's a pre-recorded one, but I thought it would be an interesting one because we were, I guess, at the No Code Summit in Paris a couple of months ago. And there as a demo, we basically tried to rebuild like a basic version of their website, so or of the No Code Summit website, but with Tally. And yeah, I'll just show you how we did that. So this is Tally, as you saw before, our form builder, and we're basically just going to start by typing and just adding all the content that we feel like we need to have on this page. The form will have multiple pages. You'll see that in a bit. And we just want to make sure that people can select the type of ticket, that they can also buy it, that some of the messages are personalized. And afterwards, that we will also send a follow-up email and send a Slack message to the owners of the form as well. So yeah, as you can see, just type / and you can insert anything, also a new page. You can edit the copy of the button. And here, there's some, I think since last year, some new input types that weren't there yet, like headings. So the page 2 would be about the tickets, and we're going to use checkbox question for that. So we always have a combination of input types and questions, but we also offer them separately because we want to keep it flexible and give you the option to basically fully control the layout and the content of the form. But so here we're just adding the different type of check boxes, options, different type of tickets. So afterwards we will be able to use those to calculate the price. So that's why we need these. So maybe speed this up a little bit. There we go. And then I'm just inserting another page. You can also just do that with the shortcut and asking some personal details of the people that want to register. I'm just going to use like simple short answers for that. So you don't always need a question. You can also just add placeholder text and type in the box. So that works as well, depending on your preference, depending on the type of data that you're collecting. So we have an email field, first name, last name, and then company. There we go. And then on the third page, we're going to ask for the payment details. I'm going to show you in a bit how that works. So we're just going to make sure that the page is already in there and then set up the integration later. And then as the last page of the form, you can see that we're using like the thank you page toggle. So this is basically the message that people would see when they have submitted the form. So it's the last thing a respondent would see. You can fully customize that as well. And I'm just going to insert the first name in here to make it a bit more personal. So in the end, you will see thanks for registering Marie, for example. And then we're also going to set up an email, a confirmation email after the form has been submitted. So that's it basically for, yeah.
Sorry, when you add these placeholders, like at first name, is there a way to do like fallbacks in case that data isn't there? Can you do like if first name doesn't exist, you just put an exclamation mark, for instance, or you'd have to handle that with conditional logic?
You can actually add a default answer in your first name. So that could be the fallback. Or you could use logic indeed. That's a good question, but you can actually add a default answer and then the problem would be solved. Depends a bit. Like we would recommend to use it when it's a required question, because then you're sure that you have, you have some data in there. Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. So now we have all the content for our form. And if we go to the next step, let me just scroll through. So now we kind of want to add the logic to calculate the price. So depending on the ticket type that you choose, we want to calculate the payment, the price that the people will have to pay. So this is a calculated field, and that basically works as a variable. It's a bit of a confusing name. We're going to rename it, but we're not sure into what yet. But it's basically the variable. And with logic, you can assign any value to that variable. So what we're going to do is we're going to say when the ticket type is option 1, then I basically want to calculate, and I want to add 118 euro in this case to the price. And then we're basically you can just duplicate it. And then we're going to do the same for the other ticket types. I'll just speed it up a bit here. So you see, if you choose option 2, we will add 178. If you choose option 3, we'll add 10 euro to the price. So that's the simple logic behind that. And now in the next step, we would need to connect that price to our payment block. We already have a page here ready for the payment. So we have an integration with Stripe. So you can basically just type /payment and then set it up. And as the value for the price, we're going to choose that calculated field, so that variable that we have created, to make sure that the price gets updated automatically. You can also add a fixed price in there. That's also possible. And then you just hit connect, and then you're redirected to Stripe. I already set it up for this demo, but so you do need the Stripe account to accept payments, but it goes quite quick. And there we go. The payment form is loaded. And then in a bit, we're going to preview it and see if it actually works and shows the right price.
And Marie, we have a question. The payment integration, is that in the free tier or only in the pro plan?
It's also in the free tier, but in the free tier, there's a commission. So basically on every transaction, there's a 5% commission. And then in the paid plan, there's no commission, except for the Stripe fee, which we can never avoid, basically. And that also, so that's how it works. Okay. So now we're going to just preview the form. Everything that I'm showing here is included in the free tier. If not, I will try to mention it. You can see we're having like a continue anyway button here. That's something that you only have in the preview. So respondents won't have that. It's just an easier way to preview your form. You can see that the price is adjusted here and that my name is also filled in here, so that the logic in our form, basically works and functions as we would like. All right. So now the form doesn't look like the branding of the summit. So we're going to change some design options. We have some free design options. Those are the ones that you see now. So you can change background, text, buttons, texted, accent color, and the font.
We can't see now. It's black. Now we can see. Awesome. This is new, Marie. This is new.
This is new indeed. Yeah. And this is the custom CSS. So the last piece of code that I added, that's a pro feature. And that basically allows you to control any type of element of the form. So we're also going to add a logo in there. And I think in a bit, something else that is new as well is that we're gonna insert an image and then create a column. And I don't think we had a column layout yet last time. So you can basically just insert an image or any block and then just drag it next to your text. And then we're just dragging everything back in place. And with the handlebars, you can resize those columns. So you can also create as many columns as you like in the form. So you'll see it already looks pretty different. The accent color is also used in the payment block. So yeah, that's how the form looks like now. And then if we preview it, you'll also see, if we go to the next page, if you select an option, for example, the purple here, that's also an accent color. So that accent color comes back in quite a lot of elements and can also be controlled. So basically everything here is also possible with the free tier, except for adding the gradient in the button, because you would need some custom styles.
It makes sense that people have to pay for gradients. I think that's fair.
Right. Yeah, because we would see very creative form designs if we wouldn't do that. All right. So now we have our design. If we then publish the form, you'll see that you get a share link, which you can just copy and share the form by itself. There's also some embed options. I'm not going to go over those now, but you can very easily also embed the form or create a pop-up out of your form and add it to your own website, or create a template if you want to reuse the form. We're going to go to the settings. There's also a bit more settings, I think, than last time, but we're going to just set up our email. So basically, we want to send an email to the person that has submitted the form. And again, you just type at email because that's the value that the person has answered in the email. You can change the subject, and you can now also change the from name. So the email will still be sent from tally.so domain, but the name that will appear in your inbox can be customized as well. So that looks a bit more professional if you use it as a company. And then again, you can just type anything you like or insert elements from the form, answers from the form in your email. And then we'll see in a bit that you can also format the text. So you can also add links, for example, in here. Something that's not possible yet is add attachments. If you'd like to do that, you could use our Zapier or Make integration to do that, and then send the emails with another email tool. But that's not possible yet within Tally.
And Marie, we just have a question on the pricing. Do you offer any sort of startup or discount deals for new companies on the program?
Yeah. So we have a startup program where we have basically a long list of partners. I actually don't know if you guys are in it or not. If not, we should add you. And basically, startup members of our partners can get 50% off Tally Pro for the first year. We also have like an indie hacker bootstrappers discount, discount for students, discount for nonprofits. All of those you can find on our website.
Perfect. That's really, really fair.
All right.
Another follow-up question on the emailing.
Yeah.
So email address will the recipients see? Can that be configured somehow in terms of the sender email address, or that's just coming from Tally?
Yeah, that's coming from Tally. So now it's like notifications at tally.so, but the name can be customized. So here, the name that you would see, for example, in your Gmail inbox would be No Code Summit. But it kind of depends on the email client that you use. Only if you would open the email, you would also see like the email domain that it was sent from. And that's not customizable yet because we kind of wanted to do that, but it's not that straightforward, apparently, technically, to offer that. So it's something on our roadmap that we'd like to do. But we already added the name. So when the email comes in, at least, you don't see Tally, but you see the name of your own company.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions
around
the emails?
Continue.
Okay. I'm just going to show you real quick our integrations. So yeah, we have a long list of integrations, or also zaps or scenarios that you can set up free via Zapier or Make. But for now, we're gonna just make sure that when someone submits the form creator can get a Slack message. And again, it's quite easy to do. You can choose a channel or also send a DM, and then decide what content is in the Slack message. And when the integration is green, when there's a green circle, then it means that it's active. And the Slack message looks, in this case, something like this. So that's also quite an easy way to get alerted whenever someone submits the form. And also one of the more used integrations besides Notion, Airtable, and Google Sheets.
And these integrations, do you set them up on a form by form basis, or is it sort of one account?
Yeah, for now it's form by form, but it's definitely has been requested to, for example, manage it on a workspace basis. So you can, whenever you have like folders, and when you add your form into that folder, then the integrations are the same for all the forms. But something we don't have yet, but like to support in the future. Yeah, but for now it's on a form basis. So you would need to.
It gives more customizability anyway, I guess, with being able to decide different messages for different forms. I guess maybe you want your sales forms to go to a different team than your marketing forms. So
right, indeed. But like for teams especially, it can be really handy to just set it up once and then don't think about it anymore. And as we get more and more bigger companies using Tally, it will definitely be something that we'll be adding hopefully soon. There we go. And then the last step, because I showed you in the beginning an example of a custom domain. So we have some custom subdomains for our own domain, but you can add your own in your Tally dashboard. And basically how it works, you can just add another page to that domain and select a form, and then just choose a pretty URL in there. And then you can also control the page settings. So you can do it on a domain level or on a form level. So you can basically give the same OG details to all the forms on the domain, or you can handle it per form. You can also upload an image. I'm just gonna show that here. There we go. There's also a code injection block that's only available for custom domains at this stage. Let's say you would want to add Google Analytics tracking code or some kind of widget like Intercom, or for example, that would work with the code injection box. And if you then go to the domain demo.tally.so/no-code summit, you will see that that the form is live. If you would start from scratch, you would first need to add the DNS records to your domain provider. And then you would see like red, orange, or green status. So it can take a while before the domain is actually, or the forms are actually live. But all of that you can follow up in the Tally dashboard. And so the custom domains are part of Tally Pro. So that's a paying feature. Yeah, so that was it for the demo. Actually, happy to answer any questions that you might have about the demo or the product or the business.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marie. That was an amazing demo and incredible, the tool you've built, especially since there's just been two of you. A question I already have is, so you mentioned they're already thinking about some like features in the future. Interested to know more about how do you go around that process? Do you already have, obviously you mentioned that your roadmap is public, but sort of what are the next big things for Tally, or what direction do you see this heading in?
Yeah, so for us, I think on the very short term, we're missing like some input types that we would like to have, like a ranking question, for example, or a table input. That's something that has been requested a lot. We're actually on Monday also shipping like a new smart phone number block. We already had that, but now you can like select the country code, or when you start typing, it will automatically add the country code to it as well, and you can format it in a certain style. So that's actually not live yet, but it should be tomorrow. So that's on the very short term. So that's basically adding some more like basic form elements. And then for next year, we would definitely want to make it a bit easier for power users to use Tally, to organize the dashboard, to have folders, to also add a bit more user management rights, because those are still basic at this stage. And then I would say on the bit longer term, we'd also like to open up our API. So now it's really easy to get data out of Tally, but not in Tally yet. And we have some cool ideas around how we can do that, and how we can also involve our users into that process. So I think that will be a very, very big project for us for next year. And yeah, it will open up a lot of use cases for the form builder as well. But yeah, in the end, all of that trying to keep it simple and clean and an easy to use interface, and not bombarding it with too many features. But yeah, those are the plans for now. Of course, things change quite fast, so we keep track of upvotes whenever someone requests a feature. And it's really hard to look like too long in the future, but sometimes we also need to prioritize something that we didn't expect yet. So we try to stay flexible, but those are like the bigger lines and things that we'd like to achieve. Yeah.
Really cool. And it's amazing actually to, like, you're still a form builder, but what you just showed us is you can actually build a whole website with Tally if it's a sort of simple one pager, which is incredible.
Yeah, and it's not really our goal to become like a website builder, but still we want to keep it super flexible, and we see more and more people using it for like landing pages or personal websites. So that's definitely possible with the form builder, and I think will become easier in the future as well. Yeah.
And another question just from the chat. So Alice is facing some issues with the connection to Notion, the integration, and she's just wondering, like,
okay,
best way to then reach out in situations like this. So you actually, I'm not sure for everyone who heard it, that your team has grown by 3 now, and you have a customer support person joining. So I guess that would be in their inbox somehow.
And like the fastest way is to join our Slack channel. So just tally.so/Slack. That's like for instant support if you're stuck. And if not, you can send us an email, and we usually reply within the day. So if it's in the inbox, I'll have a look at it for you. Usually, like disconnecting and connecting again does the trick, but it can be something else as well. So Slack is the fastest way, and otherwise email. Yeah.
Perfect. And with your pricing going forward, do you see anything changing there, or are you always looking to have like a free plan and even adding more features to the free plan as well?
Yeah, I think how we grow is because of our free users have like made the Tally badge on the forums, and that's our biggest growth engine. So we definitely don't want to change that. And when we add features, we always try to make them free, unless they, of course, cost us money, like sending emails, hosting domains. So there will definitely be a lot more free features coming, and we want to keep the plan as free as possible. So definitely also keep like flat pricing, just one tier. Maybe one day introduce like a corporate tier, but that's not really something that we're ready for yet. So yeah, there will be more free features coming up. Yeah.
It was always one of my biggest pains with other form builders, where especially with like you see like, oh, hidden fields, and then Googling, do they have that feature? And it's like, yes, they have it, and you try and use it, and it's like you need to upgrade to the for this. And
yeah, it's a bit of a limiting experience. Of course, I understand why or how the model works, but for us, we're also a small team, so we don't. I mean, we don't need to make as much money as the very big players because we're small and our costs are a lot lower, which also allows us to offer a lot more for free. And that's also our USP. If we wouldn't do that, it would be really difficult for us with like very small marketing budgets to get new users. So yeah, that will definitely remain one of our USPs, to offer a lot of things for free.
A follow-up question from the chat on this one. So how did you decide on the pricing actually? Was it cost or value based, something in the middle?
Yeah, I think we took like, because our pro plan is it's $29, 25 euro a month, or 250 a year. And that was similar to like the lowest tiers of competitors that we could find. So that's kind of how we set it. Of course, pricing is like super complex, and it might change in the future, but we just decided that we want to be budget friendly, and to do that we could definitely not be more expensive than other form builders. Of course, there's a lot of new ones being launched also, like in the past year. But yeah, well, that's kind of our way of thinking behind the pricing. Yeah.
And did you have any, sorry, Alex asking, did you have any companies that you took inspiration from when you started Tally on this pricing model? I just find it very a crazy bet from the start. If I were in your shoes starting Tally, to be so generous on the free tier, and to bet on basically you're betting that 1% or 1.5% of these users will convert into paying customers.
Yeah,
and it's very hard to assess whether it's going to be the case.
Right.
Any benchmarks?
Not really. I don't think we didn't really we knew we wanted like simple flat pricing, because that's just something that we prefer ourselves. So we didn't want to have like the tiers. And we also had to make it free, because otherwise we would not be able to differentiate us from the bigger players. Otherwise we would just do the same, like a Typeform or a Jotform, for example. And then I think it's pretty hard as a bootstrap team to compete with them. While now our biggest competitive advantage is that we are free. So in the beginning, we didn't even have a paying tier. So we launched completely for free. And the main goal was just to get users. And then we noticed that people really loved using the product. And in the end, we offer that much value that it becomes sometimes like a no-brainer to start paying for it, especially when you're a company. So that was kind of the idea, but we didn't really have, I don't remember if we have had like specific other examples of that. Just, I mean, Notion was obviously a big inspiration for us, and they also have a very generous free tier, right? And then a quite low first paying tier. So I think they were definitely an inspiration. But I think the main reason was just to do something else than what the market was doing, in order to be able to grow in a quite competitive space.
Yeah, awesome. Makes a lot of sense. Your pricing makes me think a lot of an article from Basecamp. I don't know if you know, like the guys from Basecamp, and basically they advocate for a simple pricing, non-different from depending on the customer size.
Yeah.
You might leave a lot of value on the table for bigger customers because they pay ridiculously low price for and get a ton of value. But at the same time, you're not, every customer is worth the same to you. So they cannot hijack your roadmap. You're free to, if tomorrow Microsoft uses Tally, but Microsoft wants a feature, you can tell them, well, you're as much of a customer, important of a customer as the next one. So we're not going to.
Indeed. And I think that's really important for a small team, because huge corporate clients could also ask a different level of support and SLAs. And those are things that we just cannot offer. We don't have the resources for. And that's also not necessarily something that we want to do, because we are having more interest from like larger corporates, which also involves a lot of legal reviews, a lot of documents and things that need to be signed and reviewed, and you just need to ask yourself, like, do you want to move up market? And because then we need to grow the team, then it's a whole different ball game. I think for now, I mean, maybe one day, but for now we feel like there's a lot more room to grow in the startup scene, and to do that, then the flat pricing kind of works. Of course, now it's like unlimited, so you can also invite unlimited number of colleagues. That's something that we might need to change in the future, because until now it was still manageable, but sometimes it kind of can get out of hand. So there's things that we will need to tweak, but I hope that we will be able to grow and stick to our to the plan that we have now.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you.
I shared the article also in the chat. Bigger prices, bigger problems. I think the title says
indeed it. And that's a good way to recap it.
Super interesting. And actually it's funny because like my question, Marie, for you was going kind of in the same direction, is how do you decide, like how do you conduct your product roadmap? Because in the end you came on on a category which is kind of busy, and you ended up building a gorgeous tool which has all the features that whenever we look, and especially us like small companies or no coders, whenever we look into forms, like it's just like Tally just has everything we need. And do you think that actually this simple pricing and having every customer being the same for you was the main driver for you building exactly the product that everybody needs, or what's your reflection on that?
I think I think what like Philip's influence on that is that people actually really like building with Tally. So the interface is not for everyone. There's also people that like completely get stuck with the blank page approach. But for our audience, it's people that really love the design and love the user experience. So I think besides pricing, that's definitely another reason why people choose for Tally. And regarding the roadmap, we just tried to get to a point where we kind of have like feature parity with the well-known form builders. There's just some things that you just have to have. And we, of course, also looked at what are the things that they don't have, like custom subdomains. You cannot really have that with all of them. So that seemed like a good something to a good feature to add for us. I think how we decide on it, there's a lot of pressure on us because we talk to the users like all day long. Like our Slack channel is quite busy, and sometimes something gets requested like 10 times a day, and then in the evening we're like, we really need this feature, like why don't we have it yet? But in the end, in Notion we can keep track of all the upvotes across channels, and then we just have a more clear look at the data, and just some features just really have been asked like a lot more than others, and for some it just happens to be a lot in 1 week, but in the general view they might not be that important. So we look at that. We also look at like the time versus effort, like how long would it take for Philip to build it, because we want to keep on shipping things quite fast. And the past months we haven't really been able to do that because we had some growing pains and we need to hire people, and the user base was growing really fast. We had a lot of customer support, so we couldn't ship as fast as we usually do, like every week or every 2 weeks. So we look at that, and then we look at the demand, of course, and then we also try to always ship more free features than paid ones. So all of that together kind of helps us decide on what to do next. But it sounds like a better process than it is. It's also just some gut feeling once in a while. Yeah.
Super nice. And actually, regarding the features, there's one question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Is somewhere on your list the ability to ask repeating groups, or having, like, if you ask someone, you want to ask someone about his children, and you want to have the name, the first name,
like
the birthday.
Add more. Yeah.
Exactly. You click on a button
Definitely.
and then you have the same group. Like, I think that's something that not a lot of form builders have. And
No.
if you had that, Plus,
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
already
think
ashamed
that
that we
would
don't
be
pay for you.
no, but that would be really nice to have, and I think it's quite high up, like repeating groups or adding more. So definitely coming. But yeah, that's the other downside of having a small team. We can almost never promise a date or a delivery time, but it's on there, so it's coming. Yeah.
Very nice. And the other question I wanted to ask you is like, you said like people like the design, and actually who's the person behind the design? Like, is it you or is it
No,
Philip? Or?
that's Philip. So Philip does like designs and builds the product, and so he checks with me. So I can like tell what I like and not like, but I cannot like do it myself. I don't have the technical skills. So he's like full stack developer / designing it as well.
He's a genius.
Yeah, he's quite good. Yeah. He's not doing like I mean, everything that is branding, that would be me. And like illustrations, that's something that we outsource because we're both not good at drawing. So that's actually a designer in Brazil that helps us with that. Yeah.
Super nice, super nice. Like, can we give him a shout out, because like I really love his like these illustrations. I would love to just just ping him. Super nice.
It's Carlos. I can share it with you actually,
Yeah,
because he's
I
not
love
really
that.
on Twitter or anything. We just found him because he has like a set of free illustrations. So we started with those, or like you can buy them for like $20 and then you get a whole set. And then after a while, it really became like part of our brand. And then we asked him to make some custom ones, and so he still does. So I hope he sticks around.
Yeah. Whenever we post about this session on LinkedIn, I would love to just share, send him some love, because like I really love what he does. So I think we need to spend more time just giving shout outs to people. So
True.
I'd love to be able to do that.
I'll send you his name.
Thanks.
Cool. So then I'm not sure if there's any more questions. Maybe one more. So you mentioned, because I find it incredible that you're doing all this with just a team of 2. You mentioned that you're obviously Notion is something that you're using. What are maybe some secret tools other than, obviously this is a Tally tool demo, but are there any other no code tools that's sort of helping you manage this with just the 2 of you?
Yeah, Notion is a big one. Like, a lot happens in Notion. What else do we use? Figma for design, product design, and also marketing. So that would be quite high on the list as well. We use Missive for email handling. That's like our shared inbox. It's a pretty cool tool as well. Yeah, Slack, of course. What else? I think for everything that is like screenshots and videos, we use CleanShot and Jitter for making videos and animations. What else do we use?
I see Piv Googling a lot of these. Piv, don't worry, it's recorded. We can check it out later.
Yeah, or I can send you a list. I have a list of them.
I would love to.
What else do we use? Yeah, I think those are like the main ones. Yeah, but quite a lot in, like, we have all our to-dos in Notion, our backlog, our upvotes, feature requests. And we use Ghost for our blog. And we actually also created our help center in Notion. So it's like we use Notion as the CMS, and then Philip built some kind of layer on top so we can publish it. But there's also tools that offer that. I'm actually forgetting the name now.
Quotient or Super.
Yeah, but there's also tools that like really are more focused on building help centers for SaaS, using Notion as the CMS. But the name escapes me right now. But Super we've used in the past as well. Yeah, I think those are the the main ones. So no real. I'm trying out Cron as well for my calendar. But it's only been 1 day, so I cannot say a lot about that.
Can't give a full review on that one yet.
No, but no real, no secret tools, I would say. No.
But it must be a great feeling knowing now that more and more are having Tally in their mix, which is really cool. Perfect. All right, then. Oh, I think Marie might have frozen. Then I guess if there's no more questions, I'm sorry. You're back.
I'm
Cool.
back. Sorry.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, thank you so much. It was a really great demo, and also thanks for giving us so much background into what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much for
keep
inviting us again.
Amazing. All right, well then, until next time, I guess 1 year with even more features.
Yeah, let's meet again in 1 year. Would love to.
Nice. All right.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks a lot, Marie.